Hello, welcome back. It is Red Friday. As is custom here at Low VA Rates, we wear red in support of the men and women of the military because we do VA loans here. And VA loans is our topic for today. VA, let's talk about that. What does VA stand for? Veterans Affairs. Now you might think, okay, I already know this. Let's get to the real meat and potatoes. We're going to get there. I'll tell you, I can talk about VA loans for probably 4 or 5 hours. This has been my career path for the last 15 plus years. It's one of the only topics I know almost everything about, but I'm going to tell you, instead of 5 or 6 hours today on VA loans, I hope to keep this about 5 or 6 minutes. So please keep listening and stay focused. We're going to take a lot of information and condense it down into the most important parts for you. Now, if you're wondering, why should I use a VA loan? I'm a first-time home buyer. My realtors told me this. My buddy from the from boot camp told me this. Who do I believe? Well, I want you to believe me. And if you do have VA loan benefits, I want you to use them. We're going to talk about benefits first. This is a little present over here. You guys have earned it. I'm a civilian. I love this country, but I did not sacrifice my time, energy, and potentially my life to defend this country like the men and women of the military did. So I don't get this benefit. I can't have a VA loan when I go buy a piece of property. You can and you should. The number one benefit, I believe, other than probably a sense of pride that you should have for serving in the military, is we in this country ought to make it a lot easier for you to buy a home. And that's exactly what the VA home loan program has done. You see over here 100%. Now, many of you may have children in school. I was sitting at home last night with my son and my daughter, helping them with some of their homework. That's not what I'm talking about here. Even though I want my kids to do as best as they can in school, we're not talking about 100% of a score or something like that. We're talking about 100% financing, okay? You may have heard this term before, but a VA loan allows 100% financing. What does that mean? Well, it's going to be a great spring for home buying. I can tell you that. And if any of you are out looking for homes right now, it's Friday, maybe tomorrow. Saturday is a great day to go out and look at homes. You might be driving through your neighborhood and you may say, bingo, I found the house I want and it's listed for sale at $250,000. Well, 100% financing allows you to essentially have no money in the bank and you can still buy that home, because 100% financing means you can borrow 100% of the sales price when you go to buy a house, okay? So you get a loan for the entire sales price. You can't do that with FHA. You got to have 3.5% down. Conventional loans sometimes require 20% down. Not for the fine men and women of the military. You can borrow 100% of the home's price. Now, easier. We've talked about this before. I'm going to really focus on this today. It is easier to get approved for a home loan with a VA loan than it would be FHA, conventional, USDA. It's easier. Why? Because you've earned these benefits that we've talked about. How is it easier? Well, let's go right across the board here to credit report. We talked about this last week. FICO score or credit score. All these other loan programs require a higher credit rating or a more creditworthy borrower than VA. Now, that's not to suggest that, well, everybody that gets a VA loan must have bad credit. Not at all. Matter of fact, some of the highest credit-worthy individuals in this country have served in the military because they've got a work ethic and they pay their bills. But if you've fallen on hard times or you've struggled, you don't automatically get kicked to the bricks and you can't get a home loan like maybe happens on other programs. There is no minimum, okay? No minimum. Not the best writing, but there is no minimum credit score required to get a VA home loan. Now, the better your credit, and you can go look for last week's video, the better your credit, the better your rate might be. But even at an extremely bad credit score, it's easier to get approved for a VA loan than it would be if you tried something else. Some other ways in which a VA loan is easier to get approved for: debt to income ratio. You may have heard of that. If not, do some research. We've got some information on our website. But you don't have to have a real low debt to income ratio to get approved for a VA loan. The VA is not going to let you, however, and I'm not leading you to believe that, oh, I can just take on more debt than I can afford and it's okay. No. We also want to protect the young, we also want to protect the fine men and women of the military and not put them into homes that are going to cause them all sorts of financial hardship. You still have to get approved. However, it all comes back to your hard-earned VA home loan benefits. You served this country or possibly are still serving. And because of that, the government, the Department of Veterans Affairs, comes to lenders like low VA rates or banks like, Bank of America or whatever. And they say, if you banks and mortgage companies and lenders will extend easier credit and approve people for VA loans, we will insure or guarantee a portion of that loan. Here's a prime example. Let's just use the number 100,000 for an example. If you come in and you borrow $100,000 today on a VA loan, the VA is going to guarantee 25% or $25,000. Hopefully you can see that on the screen here. To me, the lender, for issuing you the VA loan, assuming I do my job correctly. So in the future, if you fall on hard times and you can no longer afford your mortgage payments and unfortunately have to walk away from the house, I'm not left holding the entire bag by myself. None of us want this to happen, and hopefully it doesn't. But the Department of Veterans Affairs, VA, will issue some assistance to me for doing the VA loan and help offset some of the financial risk. That is the main reason why it's easier. There's less credit standards because there's some safety for me, the bank. Anyhow, like I said, I could go on and on for hours. I'm not going to do that today. Please, if you're in the market to buy a home with a VA loan or even refinance, use your VA loan benefits to do that. Call us up here at Low VA Rates or apply online. We're ready to answer any questions you have. If your realtor needs to give us a call because they're trying to talk you out of a VA loan, call them out on that. There is not a better loan in the universe for acquiring a piece of property or for refinancing a property that you already own than the VA loan. It's a great benefit. This is Eric with Low VA Rates. Hopefully we'll see you next week on another very important topic.